This episode of the Water Matters podcast was recorded prior to the current developments in the Middle East. The discussion focuses solely on water management challenges and opportunities in the region and is not related to, nor intended to comment on, any current political or geopolitical events. The views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of the individuals participating in the conversation and do not necessarily reflect the views, positions, or policies of their respective organizations.
Hello and welcome to the Water Matters podcast. I'm your host Tim Smedley, the author of this book, The Last Drop, and if you're a regular listener or viewer, you may know me as an occasional guest on this podcast. Today I've been given the reins by Matt, who is away. This is my first time hosting, so we'll find out whether this is poacher turned gamekeeper or vice versa. Let's find out. Now, today's topic is an exciting one. It's water matters in the Middle East. And before I introduce today's expert guest, I just wanted to offer a bit of an anecdote of my time in the Middle East when I was writing this book. So I was in the Jordan Valley in Jordan. I was a guest of a local NGO, and they wanted to show me the diversion dam where the River Jordan comes down through Syria and is then diverted into two canals, one going into Israel and one going into Jordan. And it was about 40 degrees, baking hot. I had to lie down on the back seat for some part of the journey because they're paranoid about me being allowed through. But anyway, that was fine. And eventually we got to this part of the valley, and right on the corner, the triangle of borders between Jordan, Israel and Syria, and looking down at the Jordan River and the diversion dam. And what really struck me was just how little water there was in all of it. So the River Jordan was a tiny trickle after the dam. The dam itself going into the two canals. I was expecting two really grand major canals, but they're relatively thin, narrow canals of water going through. And it really brought home to me how politically and strategically important water is in that region. So with that picture in my mind, at least, let's introduce today's guest. So Ahmed Assaf, Area Sales Manager for the Middle East at GRAF. Welcome to Water Matters.
Thank you very much, Tim, for the presentation. It's my pleasure really to join you for this episode.
And welcome to the UK, because when you're not visiting clients in the Middle East, you're more usually based in Germany, right?
Yes, I'm usually based in the head office of company GRAF in Germany. I'm operating from Germany, and I use it to visit the region from time to time to just meet the client. But I'm originally based in Germany.
And what's the day job? So what's a typical day like for you at work? What are you dealing with?
Actually, the main point is, or the main job is like to catch up with the client and and consultants, contractors, even the municipality, government, authorities, to bring the importance of topic water and the road. So this is my mainly task. I have been working for company GRAF since 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's very interesting, really. When it's your job related to water, it's really very interesting.
Yeah, I bet, and a really interesting region to be covering. So which countries in particular do you cover in the region?
I'm covering Libya, Egypt, Sudan, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, UAE,
mm-hmm.
Kuwait, Qatar, Iran, Iraq, Jordan, Palestine, Kuwait.
Yeah, wow, so even wider than that.
Syria, most of the Arabic countries. I mean, except like Tunis, Algeria, Morocco.
Mm-hmm.
They are operated from GRAF Dachstein, France, and the rest of the Arabic countries I operate them.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, but a good way of introduction would be to zoom in onto the UAE and Dubai, because I believe you were at an exhibition there recently, the Big Five exhibition in Dubai.
Yeah.
So I wondered if you could tell me a bit about that and what sorts of issues were coming up when you were talking to people there, and what sort of solutions they were interested in.
Mm-hmm. It's really very interesting exhibition, a Big Five Dubai. We have been participating in from 1998.
Oh wow!
Yeah. At the exhibition.
Dubai would have been a lot smaller.
Yeah,
then.
even Mr. Otto P. Graf was participating himself on the exhibition. So we know that really the region is really potential for us, and we know how really the topic of water is very important for the region. So this exhibition is really a window to meet the consultants, the municipalities, the government authorities, and to explain them and to present our solutions and German innovations solutions for the water, and to have discussion with them how they are thinking, which system they are going with when it's come to stormwater or wastewater. It's very interesting because we at GRAF, we have not only one product, we have a stormwater management system, we have rainwater treatment, we have wastewater, we have firefighting solutions, we have even garden products for DIY stores. So we have really big varieties of product. Our product portfolio is very big. So looking to the region with a potential construction projects with a $1.4 trillion and with annual growth 4 or 5% growth annually for the region. And the water becomes really more and more important for us. So that's why really we keen to participate at the exhibition Big Five every year.
Yeah.
So we was last year, and we are going also to participate November 2026 also.
Yeah. So tell me what sort of solutions they were most interested in the most recent one. So what kind of solutions were people looking into water-wise?
In the region, when it's come to the stormwater, there is like historically, it's a historically topic. Usually, the designer or consultants, they use it to design the project. If you have any project and you need a stormwater management system for the project, they usually go with the easiest system, like discharge to wadi. So
wadi meaning stream or ditch?
Yeah, stream or ditch in the desert, and that's it. Or discharge to the sea. This was the most really common. Recently, becoming more and more common, these solutions like geocell system. They use it to have concrete sometimes, but we try now to bring them to this modern systems first, and to try also to explain really how really benefit for them to go with such system instead of the old one. So this is really the mainly topic. They was going only mainly with concrete systems or discharge to wadi, discharge to sea. It's, I even read really very, very interesting article just regarding discharge to the sea. It was talking about the high temperature in the region, really very high. It could reach 50 or even more. And imagine the when it's really it's come very hot weather, then directly come rain. The stone is very hot, and the land is really very hot. And this hot water will discharge directly to the sea, and definitely will have effect on the sea life and the sea. Yeah. It was really very interesting. And maybe some people, they don't really put it on mind, but it's really very critical.
That's a fascinating example. And to put it into some recent historical context, so Dubai had some crazy flooding in 2024.
Yeah.
I think it flooded again in December, maybe shortly after you were there.
Yeah.
So was those recent floods still top of mind? Were people talking about how they dealt with that and how they need to deal with that?
Absolutely. I mean, just one step back before that event, the region really, Dubai and Saudi Arabia, Qatar as an example, they was spending $210 billion for infrastructure to be ready for a World Cup 2022. 210 billion. just for stadium,
just for one sports event.
I mean, yeah. So imagine they renew everything. It's investment in infrastructure. It's investment in for the future. I mean, it's really, I found it really very good to really invest on the infrastructure for the future. Very nice. But imagine that the country as Qatar, with this small area, spent 210 or 220 billion dollar for infrastructure project. So they renew everything. The stormwater, drainage system, everything was really renewed. Metro, roads, bridge, tunnels, stadiums, airports. So with such project, and also hosting Saudi Arabia a very big event like Asian Cup 2027, World Cup 2034, the Expo I think 2030, and the Asian Games 2034. So of course, with such construction project on the pipeline, you could have a huge potential really for bring the stormwater management system for this project. We were recently really working on a very interesting project in Dammam, stadium in Dammam. And it was really designed with another system, but really finally we get them back to the geocells system, our crates, and it's really becoming more and more common on the region.
So what were they installing in the stadium? Was that storm attenuation tanks there?
Yeah, it was designed as attenuation tank, but from concrete. We offered them a proposal to show them that our system is really cheaper than concrete, and they redesign the design and become design with our system, with 40 or 50% cheaper than the previous plan.
And presumably more climate resilient as well, lasts longer, less prone to heating, as you were suggesting.
Yes, of course. And it was designed as attenuation tank because they don't want really any impact of the infiltration of the water when it infiltrates underground to have any impact on the stadium. Podium of the stadium, so they wanted just to make it as attenuation tank.
What sort of scale is this tank? Is it, we often think of water butts in the gardens in this country, but yes. What sort of scale would it be in a stadium?
There was a few tanks. Approximately was 37,000 cubic meter. The volume,
37,000 cubic meters.
Yes. Storage capacity of the project was approximately 37,000 cubic meter, and there is the storage of the project. It's really very big on our region because you are developing non-developed region. So you are building just on the desert. So there is no surface, no service, there is no any system or drainage on exist. So you are just building from zero, non-developed region. So you have more possibility to have it in big scale. So this is one of the effect of the floods. First, the decision from the Dubai government. They have really planned a project named Driest program with a budget $8.8 billion to redesign or to make the drainage system bigger than the actual 700. The drainage system 700% bigger than the actual system.
Wow! And this is since the 2024 floods.
This is just they made I guess last year the program Driest was 8.8 billion just for one city, Dubai. And this was really
good news though. It's good to hear that reaction. Response.
They are really very smart because another country they could say that although they have this Israeli event just one time from the last 70 years, I guess, but they really take action. I mean, they said, no, we don't accept to have this anymore. We will invest. We will invest in our future. We will invest on infrastructure. So that's why they made this program, 8.8 billion, to avoid any floods anymore, and mainly to go with a drainage and infiltration attenuation system. It's really different, the different system they are planned for. And also the effect for another countries, because I even had, we delivered some project in Saudi Arabia, and directly after the floods in flood event in Dubai, they just make redesign for the tank volumes to make it bigger. They say, oh, please,
fascinating.
We need more. More. We make it like 500, because they really see how really the effect of floods on the infrastructure. So if you are at the end, it's you just need to excavate and install the tank. It's underground, no one see it, but the surface you're really able to use it. But at the end, you are on safe side. Mm-hmm. So the safe factor really was very important after that. So the design really go more with like there is one fact, say 1 in 100 or 1 in 50 the high rainfall
mm-hmm.
So they go now with even with higher factor to make it really safe.
It seems sensible. I mean, I lost count of the amounts of once in 100-year storms that I covered for the last drop. It's not once in 100 years anymore. The new climate reality is much more frequent extreme weather events, followed by more frequent extreme droughts.
Yeah.
And it's incredible to see it also playing out in the Middle East, because we don't tend to think of the Middle East and Dubai as flood prone. And it's still not flood prone, but when that extreme weather comes, the flooding has been very real recently.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But also, there is some really event could happen really in the region, just like alarm. It doesn't need to happen every year,
yes.
to have the same effect.
Yeah.
But really, I have been meeting with the consultants, and I was just presenting our system, and I'm saying here, I was presenting some photo from the Dubai floods, and they was just saying, oh, please just skip it. It's painful.
Really?
Yes, because they were there. They were present on the situation, so it's really very painful for them to remember it and.
I bet. I mean, lots of people's cars got washed down the road and so on.
Yes, that's right.
Also, what's fascinating to me, and perhaps to some listeners of Water Matters, is so the storm attenuation, and as you said, the original concept was sending it down to the wadis, down the streams, down to the sea. Is there also now more of a concept of holding on to some of that water for drought times? So is it just storm water management, or is there also an aspect of water harvesting and water reuse starting to happen?
This is really a very important question and very critical, because always the point was mainly in the region. My background comes from the region, and I'm originally from Egypt. So the point was mainly to how to prevent the floods,
mm-hmm.
not how to save the water, how to use the water. This is really different of the thinking and the mentality we try to explain to the consultant, explain to the owner of project owners, and even from the municipality, that there is water. I mean, there is rain and water, you have to use it, not just to prevent the floods. So to try to change the aim from instead of just preventing flood to saving the water, to using the water. This was really the main fact. Unfortunately, most of projects they just want to prevent floods and infiltration or attenuation. But recently, I even faced a client from Saudi Arabia. He said, "Oh, it's really rainy on my region. I would like really to create an underground tank, storage tank, to use this water for irrigation or for agriculture. So this, I think, with time, it will take time, of course, but I think with time really become more and more common to have storage tank to use it, because water, it's life.
So I mentioned my time in Jordan for the book, but I was quite surprised that I rarely saw, in fact I didn't see any rainwater harvesting tanks in Oman or in the wider region. And I wondered why that is, why rainwater harvesting isn't common there.
First, Oman is one of the most, I guess, one of the most scarce water countries in the world. The rainfall, the short rainfall season is really short in Oman. But I believe that really the solution should be there, not only at rainwater or rainwater harvesting. Have to be really treatment the whole system for water. What we are
so grey water as well.
Yeah, what we are going to do with the grey water, what we are going to do with wastewater, what we are going to do with the rainwater harvesting and stormwater and etc. So this have to be really like overview strategy plan, not just concentrate only on the rainwater, which is really short rainwater rainfall season in Jordan.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I also wonder whether in parts of the region there's just a belief that desalination has solved the problem. So certainly for drinking water, but you've got the largest desalination plants in the world in Saudi Arabia, in the UAE, Israel pretty close behind. So is there a feeling that, well, there's problem solved, we've got desalination now?
That's true, somehow. Maybe because they don't believe that there is any other options possible at the moment. But at least you may know 50% of the desalination water in the Gulf regions.
50% of
the
globally?
World, yeah, globally, just 50% in the Gulf. If you see that the cost of the just 1 cubic meter of desalination water, it costs about 3.3 to 4 kilowatt per hour. It's from 0.5 to 1.5 dollar per cubic meter. It depends on the price of water. So it's really big cost. To be honest, some of them, as I said, it's like traditional. We just use it to have it as a solution to get water. The region, the Gulf region, they don't have any river, and so they mainly depend on rainwater and desalination water. So, but I believe that really with time could really come in more and more common the stormwater and rainwater harvesting as an option. But sometimes also the effect. I mean, as an example, Egypt, we have critical issue with Ethiopia regarding this. They are building a high dam in Ethiopia, so there is directly effect on us. So instead of they're trying to have negotiation with them, but instead of just try to have any military solution, which is we don't prefer at all, they try to also build desalination stations. I think they are building one of the biggest of the world nowadays. So
in Egypt.
In Egypt,
yeah,
that's true. In Egypt, although we have river, we have Nile, but yeah, Egypt also one of the countries and the scarce water in the world. So sometimes it's really like solution to have to handle the situation regarding the water, because at the end people need water, and yeah, if they didn't get water, then there is no life, and then it will come more and more problem.
Yeah, I mean, desalination is here to stay. It is an important solution for many countries in the region.
Yes.
But it is a fascinating one in that it is expensive.
Yes,
it's
it
very
is.
energy intensive.
Yes.
Again, when I was in Jordan, there was talk, and I think it's starting to be built now, of a large desalination plant on the tip of the Red Sea. But it's quite a large way away from the major cities. The major cities are much further north in the country, so they would have to be pumped uphill a good couple of 100 kilometres to reach the major cities, by which point it's almost unaffordable. So although it is a good solution to create potable water, you need to have cities on the coast, and you need to have a lot of money and a lot of energy to run it.
Yeah, that's true. And also don't forget the effect of brine from the desalination station. So I have heard that every 1 cubic meter of desalinated water up to 1.5 cubic meter brine to discharge.
Yes, the highly salty waste brine that comes out of the process, because obviously they're pushing the salt out of the water from the sea to make it drinkable, but there's something has to happen to that salt, and currently I believe most of that, in fact all of that water, all of that waste brine is sent back out to sea, so there's an environmental cost too.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, really, for the region water, it's really it's not just like some rain or some falling water. It's very important, really. It's also related to critical and political situation. If you are following the news, Iran, they are facing really very critical situation process regarding the water. They don't have enough water, and they are suffering a lot. And this really have effect on the system, who is really in the politic now. And it could be happening the same also in Egypt, as I told. If you hear Trump, he was talking that I would like to set together Egypt and Ethiopia to solve out this problem, because he understands that it's really very critical, and it should be really a way of solving the problem, a way of diplomatic to collaboration, instead of way for fighting and go against each other. This is the thing. But if we back to Egypt and this is the Ethiopian dam, Ethiopia have the right to develop them themselves. But I mean, 90% of the water for Egypt, it's come from the Nile River. So here is like the issue. Ethiopia thinking that we have the right to build the dam and to develop ourselves, and Egypt say that, but this is water come to us. We are living on this water. But I see really nowadays becomes more and more developed in Egypt regarding the water. They trying to, as I mentioned, this desalination. It's a topic really now, critical topic. They changed also the season of agriculture. They deduct the agriculture product like rice, as an example, using much water. They minimize the size of land with the to keep this water for drinking or another uses.
Yeah, well, groundwater is something we haven't touched on yet, but there's whole aquifers that have been over abstracted. In fact, I think there's an aquifer I mentioned in the book in Saudi Arabia that basically got used to extinction. It got used to purely for grain agriculture, and that they had to ban grain agriculture after that in that part of the region because of overuse of aquifer groundwater.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. In Saudi Arabia, it's really common nowadays, this topic.
Yeah. And Iran, you mentioned, yeah, I did want to ask you about that, because obviously we have had big protests on the streets recently, deadly protests, government crackdowns on it. And a lot of that is, to an extent, water related, right? I mean, there's even been talk of potentially needing to evacuate regions in Tehran because it's running out of water. So are other countries in the region watching that closely in terms of the link between water stress and political turbulence?
That's absolutely true, because really in the region, if you are, I mean, the effect of any event happening in one country could really affect another country. This is really very clear. So if you are like, as an example, in Egypt, and you're seeing what happened in Iran, of the people are really, they go against the government because of no water, they will go faster and develop more projects related to water to just prevent, because at the end, if there is no water, there is no life for people. So that's why they really have to take it really more and more serious. This is topic. It's not really as a side topic. It have to be major topic.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And this concept of desalination solving the problem also isn't necessarily true if you keep pumping the salt water out into the sea, because then the sea becomes saltier and it becomes more expensive to desalinate. So at some point, the region will have to look more at stormwater attenuation, at rainwater harvesting, at grey water recycling, as a cheaper alternative or a cheaper complement to desalinated water.
Yeah, that was what I was really mentioned, that the point, it have to be really the solution itself as a package. It's not just we don't want just focus on desalination or just on rainwater harvesting. It's like you are treating the water. You are handling the water which you have. You get it from desalination, you get it from rainwater harvesting, you get it from stormwater management, you get it from wastewater treatment.
All the solutions come as a package, not just focusing on one of them, but looking at all of them together.
Yes, that's true.
And also talking about water conflicts and water as a national security issue, I wanted to ask you about your time in Ukraine, because I believe you worked for 5 years in Ukraine. And obviously, when the Ukraine war started with Russia, one of Russia's first acts was to blow up the dam on the Dnieper River. And it was a clear sign of how water is increasingly a target in modern warfare. So I just wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah, it was a big disaster, really. To imagine the capacity of the dam was, I guess, 18.2 billion cubic meter.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is no small dam.
It's not small dam, and the side of the dam, it was about 155 kilometer. It's like equal like Luxembourg.
Wow.
Yeah. So you imagine the effect of destroy this dam. It was really a big disaster for the region around. I guess 80 settlement was really totally destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, regarding the warm situation, there is official numbers, dozen of death, and unofficial it's 100 of death, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. I just heard and I read some interesting article. They was talking about that the interesting from the situation after the dam, that the dam it doesn't became as a desert, it became as a youngest forest in Europe. In the place of the dam, it doesn't became desert. And
interesting. So where the water was sitting.
Yeah, where the water was sitting, it become as youngest forest in the Europe. And the writer was asking in the end, it's very critical questions, because if the question now, Ukraine are going to rebuild the dam, or we have to keep this youngest forest. Yeah, but the effect of this destroyed dam, it's very have very big really effect in Ukraine, in the region of South Ukraine and Dnieper, Kherson, and also, I mean, on the long term, of course, Ukraine will lost seed field for agriculture in this region, because of the effect of the dam.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, and finally, Ahmed, how have you enjoyed your time in England? So I believe you've been about a month here. You're going to go back to Germany quite soon.
Yeah.
What have you learnt about the water situation here, or has anything surprised you?
I see the water is everything is here. We are only.
It's been raining the entire time you've been
it's
here.
Raining. I just forgot when it was. Last day I saw the sun is rising. So yeah, I believe really the water is here. Everything here really in UK, and I also was following in the news of the effect really of floods. When it floods in UK, we are losing I think 1 or 2 billion every year just because of when it's floods. I don't know, but I really believe that the UK government really should have any clear plan, I would say. If you see Dubai, they just have the just one event, and then they have really plan to increase the capacity of the drainage system 700%. 700, I mean 700%, and they are already
8 billion or so investment.
Yeah, and I believe also that such a decision you have to take, because it's not as a single event, it's a regular events which coming every year. So I think really such a decision this way should be really taken by the UK government, because when it's floods, really we are losing a lot infrastructure, and and we at least we are seeing we're seeing now the example on all over the world now when it's happened in Dubai, etc. So this would be really a very clear plan to be ready to invest. Then it would be really nice to handle more the water, rain and floods, etc.
Yeah, well, it's fascinating to get your insights into that, because I completely agree. And it is crazy. We're speaking in February. It's been raining for about 2 months.
Yes,
but when we record these episodes in July, August, September, we're talking about droughts. So we have to invest to hold on to this water for those dry times.
That's true. I totally really agree with you. And really, you have also, comparing with the region, you have already very long history regarding the water and rainwater harvest and rainwater treatment, stormwater management. So already you already know how. You have it already. So it would be easier, of course, to design it. Only the challenge between the UK and the region, that the development in UK, it's already in exist and developed regions. So the investment would be higher in comparable with a non-development region. If you are going to just build a new project in the desert, you will have the rules, etc. But here, this is the challenge that we have. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying this is a challenge which we have. The development is already in developed region already. So this is the challenge. Of course, I think the cost would be really higher, but with know-how, with the history of rain and treatment the water, it would be really possible to achieve in UK.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I like it because you've done the summing up for me for this episode. So I think we're out of time, but it just leaves me to say thank you, Ahmed. It's been a real pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you very much, Tim. It's really my pleasure. It's my first episode of podcast I record. But really, I enjoyed really the conversation chat with you. Really,
yeah, me too. And it was my first time hosting, and I've really enjoyed it. So let's hope we do a few more. And my thanks to the listeners and viewers as well. And if you enjoyed this episode, please share it across all social media platforms. Help us spread the word about Water Matters, and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. So until then, goodbye for now.